Isn't it funny how, like, just last week I had some idiot liberal streamer telling us about how Kamala Harris is actually anti-genocide and wants to end the genocide. And then literally at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, if you don't know what that means, and I'm glad that you don't, good on you if you don't, they refuse to even allow a single pro-Palestine person to speak. Classic. Kamala Harris, pro-based. She's going to end the genocide, folks. You better vote for her. It's so cynical the way that people just fucking lie about that. Like, I would respect them more if they just said, nah, I don't care about the genocide. I only care about me. Instead of just pretending that they give a single shit about it. Just say, either I support the genocide or I don't care about it, because that's the actual truth. That's why you want people to vote for the Democrats. It's nothing to fucking do with anything else. Again, Kamala Harris calls for ceasefire and pledges support for Israel. Speaks out of one side of her mouth and the other at the same time, and we all know which side is the real one. Like, give me a fucking break.
With respect to the war in Gaza.
Just a war. It's a genocide.
President Biden and I are working around the clock. God. Because now...
As she gave this speech, they ship more weapons to Israel, of course. They do it every fucking day.
Is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done.
If you watch this and you're like, oh my God, slay Kamala, you're ending the fucking genocide, I have to fucking wonder what world you live on, what world you live in. A hostage deal, a ceasefire, a temporary cease in the genocide, which she'd never call that, of course, because she's doing it, so that the poor little hostages can be freed, and then the genocide can resume afterwards. It is a fucking circus.
And let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself.
This is the one who's ending the genocide? No, this is someone who should be getting 500 life sentences for genocide. And that any of you advocating for us to vote for her is utterly disgusting. Could you just admit who you really are? Could you stop pretending? Like, holy fuck.
And I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself.
Do you know what Israel will defend itself is a euphemism for? Genocide. That is what she's saying. I will always ensure that Israel has the ability to do genocide. Anything it needs to do genocide, I am at its disposition. That's me. That's your candidate. Now, vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter what they do.
Because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization...
Oh, the poor people of Israel. The poor, innocent people of Israel currently doing genocide for the umpteenth time. Are you fucking hearing this? Boils my fucking blood the way that these people lie, just blatantly lie about the US and what her and Biden support and want.
Called Hamas caused on October 7, including unspeakable sexual violence
blood libel.
And the massacre of young people at a music festival.
Pure blood libel as well. You watch this and you're like, let's vote for her. Let's vote for her. I refuse to not vote for her no matter what. Genocide, still voting for her.
Same time, what has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating.
What has happened in Gaza? Just Israelis are killed by terrorists. Gazans just have something happen to them. You notice this?
So many innocent lives lost. Desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety.
From
over
what?
And
From
over
what?
again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking.
It's just suffering being caused by like a natural disaster. It's like the Bible, you know? Just God is doing it.
President Biden and I are working to end this war.
You fucking idiots who listen to this and believe it. I don't believe that any of you believe it. I believe that you're just lying about believing it to try and scold people, to beat them over the head. Because even genocide is not enough of a line for you. Even genocide is not too much for you. And they throw this out, these empty bullshit words, specifically so that moronic idiots like that Alec Gunter guy can see them saying this and just point to it and be like, you got to vote for him, you got to vote for him, you got to vote for him. You know what I'm angry about? Not the genocide. Not the genocide. I'm angry about the fact that you don't want to vote for the genociders. Disgusting scum.
Such that Israel is secure, the hostages
Israel should not be secured. The end.
are released,
Fuck the hostages. Fuck them all.
suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Do you know what that means for the USA? A fucking Bantustan controlled by Israel. No right to a military, no right to a police force, no right to self-governance. A cordoned off Bantustan. It's exactly the same as things are now, except with a little bit more American recognition of the situation. Like, give me a fucking break. Look at all these fucking morons cheering. Who are these fucking losers? Oh my fucking god, it's the Hitler rally. It's the Yas Queen Hitler rally, man.
And know this, I will never hesitate to take whatever action is necessary to defend our forces and our interests against Iran and Iran-backed terrorists. I will not cozy
How
up to...
do you fucking watch this as someone who claims to only be voting for her because she's the lesser evil, not be like, well, actually, Iran's the lesser evil compared to the USA. I support Iran. How do you see this and somehow square those two opinions with one another? They're clearly incompatible. If you really abided by this principle of harm reduction and supporting the lesser evil, you would be supporting everyone who's against the US right now. But you don't do that, do you? And we all know why. Because it's all just a roundabout excuse to support the fucking US, to support US imperialism, to support the fucking Democrats, no matter what they do, no matter how many genocides they do.
Tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump.
I'm rooting for Trump too. I'm rooting for Trump too. Gaza's revenge. Inflict Donald Trump on the USA immediately. Thank you very much.